Strapped in tight, Betty V8 symphony humming, tires screeching, engine screaming, speed demons coming. Vaseline guzzling, straight moving, track bruising, in the premium stock car, never losing. Pit crew wizards, quick as wizards, slick precision. Seconds matter, clock ticking, tight decisions. Drafting close, slingshot ghost, high speed ballet. Sipping victory, toast to champ, champagne spray. Fast lanes, checkered flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near. Grid start, hearts pound seconds before eruption. Adrenaline and steel, the perfect conjunction. Lap after lap, sweat drips, eyes are fogging. Fame and glory wait for no one's dogging. Tunnel vision, apex hunting, blind to the herd. Opponents tailgating, pace firing absurd. Finally tuned monster, horsepower excel. Steering wheels grip like the gates to hell. Fast lanes, checkered flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near. Strapped in tight, Betty V8 symphony humming, tires screeching, engine screaming, speed demons coming. Vaseline guzzling, straight moving, track bruising, in the premium stock car, never losing. Pit crew wizards, quick as wizards, slick precision. Seconds matter, clock ticking, tight decisions. Drafting close, slingshot ghost, high speed ballet. Sipping victory, toast to champ, champagne spray. Fast lanes, checkered flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near. Grid start, hearts pound seconds before eruption. Adrenaline and steel, the perfect conjunction. Lap after lap, sweat drips, eyes are fogging. Fame and glory wait for no one's dogging. Tunnel vision, apex hunting, blind to the herd. Opponents tailgating, pace firing absurd. Finally tuned monster, horsepower excel. Steering wheels grip like the gates to hell. Fast lanes, checkered flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near.
Woo! Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome, and as we get ready to rock and roll here this evening from Long Beach, baby. It is the Long Beach don't know if they call this a speedway, Long Beach street course, whatever they do call it. It is time for the Premium Stock Car Racing League to be unleashed here and ready to rumble. This is the first time we've seen these NASCAR Cup cars here on this racetrack. It's the first time I've seen this racetrack as I had to just buy it. So we haven't really seen this one before. So this is a brand new track, brand new drive here for all these drivers to try to jump out there and lay down good laps so they'll figure out this speedway to try to put themselves into a winning situation. As right now it's Matthew Wood with the quick time here this evening. Wood out in front in that Racers for Christ number 16. So Matthew quickest here in qualifying. Landon Burbage in second. Then we see Ben Gleason up in third. Benjamin Romano sits in fourth here in this qualifying session. Caden Gargiulo, our top five out there on the racetrack. Still a lot of other drivers, though, left to qualify. Other drivers probably electing not even to qualify here, as we do see Dylan Carrier, Cody Blackmore, Sean Jensick, Ryan Haller, Ryan Rose, Noah Blackwell. They're not even sliding out there onto the racetrack yet to try to get this qualifying session in. Now they're going to get a few extra laps here to try and get laps in here to try to set themselves up for a big day at the Speedway. So we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be tight corners here, tight corners, tight loops around this racetrack, and we can see a lot of issues arise for these drivers as we will see two stage breaks here this evening. Now I'm not sure if we'll see a caution flag or not, or if we'll see it stay clean and green out there for the stages. Nonetheless, I do believe it is lap number 12. In lap number 25 our stage ends here this evening. Now we'll have to wait and see when those yellow flags do come out, if they do fly here for this road course race. But 50 laps altogether here for this feature event. So 50 laps of racing action here at this beautiful Long Beach Speedway here this evening. As Anna says, it's gonna be a good day, guys. Yes, it is. She says Landon Burbage, number 2, cheering on Landon here this evening. Hello, Anna. How are you? Says hello, Peacemaker. Says go, Matthew. No drama in the chat tonight. Hopefully no drama in the chat tonight. Can't make any promises, Anna. Can't make any promises. There's always some sort of drama that may arise at some point in time throughout this race. You never know. We never know. But we'll try to keep it to a minimal and try to keep, the commenters and everyone else kind of under control here throughout this evening. But nonetheless, we'll keep on getting ready to battle here. Getting ready to go and duke it out here this evening at Long Beach Speedway. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be interesting to see really what drivers are able to do, where they're going to be rolling, what they're going to be doing, how they're going to be able to try to navigate their way out there on the racetrack to try to set themselves up here for this feature event and try to survive this feature event. Obviously early in the season, so it's kind of another wild card race kind of back to back after going to Knoxville Raceway for our first dirt race of the season last Saturday night. Now we head to a road course here at Long Beach, where this is the first time a lot of these drivers are going to be running laps, or at least having these ARCA cars out there on the racetrack. So it's going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be very, very tight racing, and it's going to make for a lot of fun here this evening as the Wyland Aquarium, I'm assuming that is there, right outside the gates of this racetrack. Is man, this beautiful scenery. I'm assuming Long Beach, Florida. So we're down in the Sunshine State, enjoying some beautiful sunshine. This is a great track and a great area for drivers to kind of sit back and relax. Maybe drink a couple mojitos or something after this race is over. As we'll get ready to set them loose. We'll get ready to rumble here in just a couple more moments as qualifying coming to a close, and that means we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, and are ready to go to battle here this evening for what is going to be another absolutely amazing show, another absolutely amazing race here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League, as these guys always put on a great show for us. I'm sure tonight is going to be another one. Obviously, a lot of fast drivers, some drivers a little bit more, a little bit better. I don't know if I would say better, a little bit more used to the road course racing stuff. They're a little bit more kind of locked in on it. They're a little bit more, veteran, I would say, at road course racing, and some of the drivers that don't turn too many laps on the road courses obviously are going to struggle quite a bit here this evening. So it's going to be interesting to see, how guys are going to be able to, kind of hang with it, stay with it, and keep themselves kind of out of trouble out there on the speedway, knowing that they got a lot of laps, they got a lot of time to either just trying to work themselves forward, trying to keep themselves from falling back, or anything else. As here we go, we get them all stacked up, racked up, and ready to rumble here today. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be pretty interesting to see how this one gets played out here, as starting in the pole position will be this 16 ride of Matthew Wood. Matthew will start in the top spot here today. To his outside in that Prince's Towing number 2, it is Landon Burbage. So Burbage starts in that second spot here this evening. See all these drivers are getting ready to roll. Here is the pace car going to turn off of corner number, I do believe this is corner 7 or 8, something like that. As we do see Ben Gleason, the 66, will start in position number 3 here this evening. He'll have Grant Applegate there to his outside. Benjamin Romano and Caden Gargiulo will bring up row number 3 on the speedway. Then we see Melvin Brangruer and Jordan Hand in row number 4. Jonathan Gaston in the Gaston's iRacing Graphics number 72 riding his teammate Farrell Robbins, the Old Dogs Racing team, there in row number 5, rounding out our top 10. And then we see Jordan Crider back there in 11th, Josh Crider there in 12th, Brian Underwood, Joshua Siegfried back there, same with Dylan Carrier, Chris Getz, Noah Nathan Brookover, Ryan Haller, our top 18, and it looks like Ryan Rowe, Sean Jensick, Noah Blackwell, and Cody Blackmore all not out there to start this feature event, so they will have to try to start from pit road here this evening. This is a tough break for them. We'll see if they join the field, if they get in onto the battle, as the pace car already making that hard left-hand turn down pit side. And we will end all the anticipation with our feature presentation, as we're going to get ready to go green flag racing here at Long Beach Speedway. As quickly the 16 of Matthew Wood onto the loud pedal. So the 16 Ryan getting a great jump right there, a great launch. Looks like he will take the lead down and into corner number 1. But here comes Gleason down to the inside of that 2 right of Landon Burbage. They're all trying to make it through this first corner. So far, everyone able to make it through there. Oh, close call right there for the G-Man, as he's able to get that Bourbon Hill barbecue ride just through there. This is a very tight spot on the racetrack right there, around that little bit of a carousel, around that beautiful, beautiful, I don't even know what you would want to call that. It's like a fountain right there, and it is very, very nice. We do see Haller a little farther back there. All these drivers just trying to navigate their way through it, as we do see Ryan Rose, Noah Blackwell, Cody Blackmore, Sean Jensick. None of these drivers still hopping out there onto the racetrack, so that's going to be very, very interesting, not having these drivers slide out there right away here this evening, and obviously they may just be chalking this one up as a net loss here this evening. Obviously not having the car, or not wanting to have the race that they were hoping for here this evening at Long Beach, as Matthew Wood is still out in front. Great run here for Ben Gleason as well. Gleason, normally we don't see the 66 run too often early on in these races at the front of the field. Normally we see him kind of squeeze in there late in the race, poke his nose into that battle, and find his way up towards the front. But here he is early on lap number 1. He'll jump up and into that second position, man. What a run for Mr. Gleason here this evening, as Chris Pilo, my boy Big Pilo Videos, coming in, showing the love over there on YouTube. Chris coming in, setting it off here this evening with a $3 super chat. We appreciate that, brother, coming in, showing the love here in this one, man. That is absolutely too generous of you, coming in, showing the big love, the $3 USD donation here this evening, the super chat over there on YouTube. I appreciate that, brother, showing the love here this evening, as Mr. Pilo, we can't wait to hopefully see you and the crew back out there on the racetrack, as the Outcast Racing League not too far away from getting fired back up. Brian Alessandro, what's good, Brian? Brian says, let's go. Landon cheered on that too, Ryan, as you start to see our top 3 starting to open up a bit of a gap here. Starting to run away with it here is obviously Matthew Wood. He's kind of trying to run to his own little area code here, as he's got a bit of second gap between himself and Ben Gleason. Gleason and Burbage right there tight together. Then you see a big gap all the way back to our 4th place driver. That is Grant Applegate. Applegate hanging on to 4th here with Benjamin Romano right there behind behind him. The 7 right of Caden Gargiulo trying to get that Team Watson Racing setups right up towards the front. Here is Melvin Brangruer, Jordan Hand, Brian Underwood there in 9th. And then we see the 5 right. Oh, things getting tight right there. And maybe a little contact between the 5 and the 6 ride. They both really had to get checked up there to make it through that corner. That's going to kill a lot of time for them. But for Brian Underwood and Josh Crider, they're both able to hang on to position, keep on rolling. But here comes Joshua Siegfried, Dylan Carrier, all trying to work their way up towards the front of the field. Is that DJC Cinematography Toyota starting to navigate his way towards the front. And look out, there goes Joshua Siegfried. Siegfried goes for a loop-de-loop right there. Oh, baby, that was a very close one for Dylan Carrier. Let's take a look at the 0-3 ride as Siegfried down into quarter number 1. He's going to get a solid run in here. Just looks like he gets in a little too hot, locks up those rear tires. That car just loops around right there, and then everyone's got to try to figure out a way to get around. You see the 33 just able to get through there without really running into him or making major contact. So it's a heartbreaker there for that 0-3 machine. Is out in front. It is all Matthew Wood. As Matthew continuing to try to open up this lead, trying to continue to pull away from that 66 ride, but he is really getting no advantage out there on the racetrack as that 66 of Ben Gleason hanging right there with him. The gap still just a little over 1 second between first and second, and then we see about 2.5 seconds back is Landon Burbage in position number 3. The gap though between our top 3 and our 4th place driver continues to grow as Applegate about 3.4 seconds off the back bumper of that 2 ride as we see some more issues out there on the racetrack. A couple more drivers getting into it here, having issues out there on the racetrack. Oh, look out, the 87. Oh, Chris Gentz gets up into the outside fence right there. Tough break for Gentz. Let's take a look back and see what happens. Looks like Josh Crider potentially having another rough go. I do believe this is corner number 7 or 8 out there on the racetrack. I have no idea how many corners this track even has. There's too many, but same spot as before. Gets in there a little too far, has to really get checked up. Doesn't look like too much contact there for him. Able to keep that thing under control, able to keep it rolling right there. So great break for him, but you see a lot of these other drivers deeper in the pack just trying to get through that corner, especially when you're 2 wide, 3 wide, as you see some heavy front end damage on that 72, that Bourbon Hills barbecue ride. Jonathan Gaston, heavy front end damage on that car early on. Now heavy damage for the 87 as well, as we did see Nathan Brokover. Massive damage here on this car. The 27 ride struggling right now, just trying to get it somewhere out there onto the racetrack and trying not to missed the corner right there. Unfortunately went a little too far, had to back it up. Now loses the back bumper, so at least this car getting a little bit more air into it. Obviously now has some back draft and front draft kind of going into it here, so overheating may not be an issue until he pops that radiator out of line in that number 27 ride. As here he comes down pit road, and unfortunately for him, he's going to quickly go a lap down as there's our race leaders right behind him to put him a lap down out there on the racetrack as Matthew Wood continues to lead this race. About 4.5 laps completed here. Already some pretty crazy action, and already we see kind of who the players are going to be here this evening as Matthew Wood now starts to stretch out that race lead a little over 3 seconds now between first and second out there on the racetrack. And then about 1.7 seconds back, you see our 3rd place driver, Landon Burbage, 4 seconds behind him. You see Grant Applegate a little bit behind him. You see that number 9 rider, Benjamin Romano. There's Caden Gargiulo, Melvin Brangruer, Jordan Hand there in 8th. So our top 8 all within about 15, 16 seconds of each other, and then about another 14 seconds back behind this Optic Gaming number 24 Ryan. That's where we find the 88 of Dylan Carrier. So there is a massive gap right there between 8th to 9th, about 14, almost 15 seconds between those 2 drivers if they're on the racetrack, between Jordan Hand and Dylan Carrier. For Carrier, he's got Josh Crider right there behind him. Underwood not too far away. The 77 of Ryan Haller, he's trying to race his way up inside the top 10. And I think if you want a top 10 run, if you want a solid drive here this evening, the one thing you got to do is just kind of have a solid run. not have any issues, not put yourself into a bad position. As you see the 6th ride turned around right there, that is Brian Underwood going for a loop-de-loop, and that's what we talked about. Now we see the 33 at Lonnie Crider. He loses the rear end coming back onto the throttle. Unfortunately, heavy left front damage there. You see that left front absolutely turned the wrong direction. He's going to try to get this thing down pit lane and into his pit stall, but man, this car is absolutely hurting out there on the speedway. That was a big hit for him, man. Hitting that inside fence absolutely tore that thing apart, and it's a long trip all the way down into your pit stall. And for the 33, you got to slowly creep down here. You see that left front does not even point in the right direction. It looks like he's just going to trying to get turned here, trying to get this thing to make its way down pit side. There we go. Finally gets it into his pit stall. Crew's able to go to work, able to get that thing fixed up and rolling out there again on the speedway. Let's take a look back and see what happens here to the Chevrolet of Brian Underwood. As Underwood was that 6 car turned around there in this corner. This is the final corner on the racetrack, and just kind of gets in, looking for a big run on corner exit, gets on the throttle a little too soon, swings that car around, and then all of a sudden, you got 1 car, then you got 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars, all kind of going by you. You're just trying to get yourself pointed back in the right direction. Obviously, the 33 having his own issues right there, but for the 6th ride, that cost him a couple seconds out there on the racetrack in a couple positions, as we did see Ryan Haller also have a little bit of an issue there. I don't know if he was just getting checked up a little too much right here, if he gets a little slideways himself on corner exit. So far, looking good. No issues, no issues. We'll see where this may happen. This has been the problem area for a lot of drivers. This corner, looks like he gets just checked up enough there that it counts it as a issue on the racetrack, but really no issue at all for Ryan Haller. He'll keep on rolling there in that 11th position on the racetrack. As out in front, it's all Matthew Wood. I feel like this is a Matthew Wood kind of a race here this evening, just to take advantage of it, to put these drivers back there behind him, continue to run away, as long as he doesn't make a mistake, as long as he doesn't put himself into a position that he ruins this car. He's always on the throttle. He's always going hard. There's not a whole lot of holding back out there for this 16 ride. I think that's something that maybe last time we were at Chicago Street Course in our other series on Sunday nights that he may have learned. He had the race lead late in the race. He had the better car. He looked like he was going to potentially run away with that race win until he went too far into a corner, parked it into a fence, and unfortunately destroyed that race car and had to take it down pit road and ended up coming home in about that 16th, 17th position. Where here tonight, maybe it's a different story. Maybe he takes it a little bit easier. Maybe he takes things a little bit more cautiously out there on the racetrack, to not make any mistakes, not to put himself into that same position. But at the same point in time, we've heard it numerous times from a lot of road course drivers and even just oval drivers that they don't really want to get off the throttle. They don't want to start slowing down more. They don't want to be holding back, because once you start kind of rolling out of the throttle earlier, you start, trying to get onto the throttle a little later, it kind of messes up your timing, your rhythm about what you're doing on the racetrack. And as you start to lose that rhythm, that's when you can make mistakes. You brake too soon, or you kind of make the wrong move and you turn too quickly into the corner with not the right amount of speed, and you clip the wall. Anything like that could happen in an instant. So it's a very, very interesting position for a lot of these drivers to be in, just to try to keep themselves out of problems and out of issues here today. As Big Chris Pilo says, that's the pair character punching the air with fist and bump written on his knuckles. Okay, I was wondering what that meant. Okay, I thought that was a message with the donation. I appreciate that again, though. Big Pilo Videos coming in with the $3 super chat over there on YouTube. Huge shout out there to Chris Pilo coming in, showing the love here. In this one is out in front. It's all Matthew Wood. And now the big question is going to be, do we see stage breaks? Do we actually see stage breaks here this evening? Now, I do not see, like, the race info was never updated, so I never really get to see whether or not if there's yellow flags for these. But I do know on the season schedule with Long Beach, it's 50 laps, stages are 12 and 25, but I just don't know if they're going to throw the yellow flag for those stage ends, so we'll have to wait and see what these drivers are going to do, what the admin crew is going to call here, because we're getting very, very close to seeing our first stage come to a close. Matthew Wood out in front, a commanding lead now, about almost 12 seconds between him and Landon Burbage. There's Burbage, who's now up into position number 2. So Burbage into second now. Ben Gleason slides back into position number 3, and Grant Applegate starting to reel him in here as well. Applegate really starting to show some good speed out there on the racetrack, and he's got this 57 ride tracking down our third and second place drivers on the racetrack, and maybe he can make some late race moves, maybe jump up a couple positions, earn a couple extra bonus points here this evening with a second place run in our first stage. Alrighty, as you see that 57 ride nice and easy out there on the speedway, trying to catch up to that 66 and that 2 machine out there on the racetrack. They got a bit of a gap, is about 7 seconds back behind him. That's where you see Benjamin Romano, you see Melvin Brangruer, Jordan Hand there. There's Caden Gargiulo a little farther back in 8th. About 12 seconds back from our 8th place driver. You do see the 88 ride of Dylan Carrier. There's Carrier in that beautiful 88 machine. Josh Crider a little farther back behind him in position number 10. Ryan Haller there in 11th, with Brian Underwood there in 12th. And then you see Farrell Robbins, Jonathan Gaston, Chris Getz there in 15th. Jordan Crider back in 16th. As right now we do see Josh Stigfried is taking his car off of the racetrack. And for Nathan Brookover already is about 5 laps down out there on the racetrack. 5-6 laps down, something around there, close to 6 laps down, is our race leader Matthew Wood, not too far away from putting him another lap down here in this race early on this evening. So Matthew Wood just continues to pick him up and pick him off here this evening, each and every lap, getting closer and closer to putting some more of these drivers a lap down. Next driver in his eye line is this 72 ride of Mr. Jonathan Gaston. Farrell Robbins a little farther forward here, but a couple of those old dog racing rides. First time for them to come to this road course, probably in these NASCAR ARCA cars, so it's definitely going to be a whole different ball game for them. So we'll have to keep an eye on them and see if they can navigate their way up towards the front here. Maybe try to keep themselves alive and not go a lap down here before the end of this stage, but I think it's going to be a very tall task here as the 72, the G-Man, trying to keep our race leader back there at bay. Matthew Wood trying to line him up here for a big run out of this corner and headed back down the front straightaway. Not going to be able to pull the trigger, not going to be able to get the run he needed to make that move around the 72, as Gaston knows that he wants to try to at least stay on the lead lap until the end of this stage. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it or not, though, because the 16 rides right there on his back bumper. And Matthew Wood, he's just kind of chilling here. He's got a massive lead. There's no reason to push the subject. If he wanted to jump up here, make the move around the 72, maybe even the 76, kind of get a couple more competitors who lap down out there on the racetrack, could be beneficial for him if he has to make an unscheduled pit stop or something else. That could really give him an extra gap above them. But for right now, he's just kind of on cruise control, following this 72 ride, following this 76. Not really too pressed about where he needs to go, as this stage should come to an end this next time by the start finish line. As now you do see Gaston does get up and into the outside fence right there, pushing a little bit too hard, trying to keep himself on the lead lap. Will now fall to be the first car 1 lap down, and for his teammate Farrell Robbins, he's now into that same boat, having to try to keep this 16 ride back there at bay. This could save him a lead lap, and it could also put his teammate Gaston back on the lead lap with a lucky dog here this evening. But for right now, it is all Matthew Wood. He's just on cruise control, and even with being on cruise control and now stopping here on the racetrack, look at this. He's going to pull over, give the 72 a lap back here. Oh, baby. So that's a very good veteran move right there for Matthew Wood. Going to pull over, allow the 72 to get back on the lead lap. Is down across the start-finish line. Wood will win stage number 1 here this evening. So Wood out in front. Landon Burbage in position number 2. And we see Ben Gleason there in third, down across the line with Grant Applegate, Benjamin Romano, Looks like Romano is going to come home in position number 5. Melvin Brangler right there in 6th. Jordan Hand back in 7th. Then we're going to see Caden Gargiulo, next driver to come down across the start-finish line. Gargiulo will come home in that 8th position. Dylan Carrier about 10 seconds behind him. Here he comes down the front straightaway, and looks like Carrier will come home in position number 9 with the 5 Ryan just headed down through our final corner here at Long Beach Raceway, and down the front straightaway here and across the start finish line. That will complete stage number 1, and we do see the caution flag fly. So yellow flag is out here for the stage, so we got to get everyone lined back up, everyone kind of wrapped together. If you're the 72 ride, if you're the 76, all these other drivers, now the challenge is you got to be kind of on catch up. You just saw the 6th ride of Brian Underwood just completed that lap. He just completed lap number 12. He's got a long way to go here to try to catch up to our race leader, Matthew Wood, still about a second. And he's got to try to catch up here. So there's a lot of drivers that are pushing the subject that are really hard on the throttle right now, trying to reel in our race leader, knowing that green flag pits or yellow flag pit stops next time around should be getting underway. We should see our pace car pull out in front of the 16 ride right here. There it is. He rolls out onto the racetrack. 16's going to slow down ever so slightly. So doesn't that 2 ride. Is our pace car slowly but surely catching up to them, and we'll get around them, and that will get everything moving here for our second stage of the day. It's JS Derby car says 03 is out. I had to go because my kid was crying. Oh no, that's never fun. That's never fun, JS, man. That is a tough one, Josh. That is a tough one, brother. And his 03 car is out because his kid was crying, and obviously family comes first, brother. And obviously this is a tough one. This is a tough one, and for Mr. Siegfried, good to see him out there on the racetrack, but for Josh, man, this is a tough race to come in. I do believe this is the first race for Mr. Siegfried this season. Coming in, actually, did he run Knoxville last week? I don't know if he ran Knoxville or not. If he did, two tough races, 2 very odd races to slide into here in the last couple of weeks. If you're a new driver sliding in here, you run Knoxville Raceway. That's, these race cars on dirt, and then you come to Long Beach Raceway, where a lot of drivers, even including myself as a broadcaster, I didn't even own this racetrack until about an hour ago. I didn't even own this track. I didn't even know what this track was. So for a lot of drivers, it's a big learning experience, and it's tough to kind of figure this out on the fly here this evening, as Brian Alessandro says, what a veteran move, Mr. Wood. Yeah, very veteran move there. Very courteous move. Just slowing down, checking up, allowing the 72 of Gaston to stay on the lead lap right there, man. That is absolutely beautiful thing to see, and I do believe it should give the lucky dog the wave around to Chris Getz, so Getz should get back onto the lead lap. We would need a additional wave around, or potentially another caution flag here for Jordan Crider to get himself back onto the lead lap here today. And for Nathan Brookover, unfortunately, he's been having a tough go. He's been having a very, very tough race here this evening. Has had a slew of issues, and unfortunately, a very, very tore-up race car as he is down pit lane right now. He'll see the rest of the field go on by him. There is Matthew Wood, and the rest of our drivers will head down into their pit stalls. And now this makes things even more tougher here, because right there, you just saw it. There's no lines on this pit lane. I don't understand this racetrack. There's no lines, there's no real notification or area zone that you can see that allows you to know where your pit stall is, and that's going to cost Matthew Wood a few positions here on pit lane. He may lose third here. We'll see if he can find that extra little bit of speed, or if Melvin can keep it. Looks like Melvin is going to keep it. So Landon Burbage comes out with the race lead here off of pit road. So Landon out in front of the field. Grant Applegate will be in position number 2. Melvin Brengruer will be there in third, with Matthew Wood in position number 4. Benjamin Romano will come out in 5th, with Dylan Carrier up into 6th. Caden Gargiulo back in 7th. Jordan Hand, Brian Underwood, Josh Crider Crider going to be our 10th place driver when we go back to Green Flag Racing. Ryan Haller back in position number 11. Then we'll see a slew of either, it looks like the 72 with Jonathan Gaston, Ben Gleason, and Farrell Robbins coming out in 14th here. And that was a tough spot right there for Ben Gleason. Super good there in that first stage, driving up inside the top 2, top 3 here all evening long, even putting some pressure on the back bumper of Matthew Wood there for a little while. But for the 66 ride of Ben Gleason, slower pit stop right there, and unfortunately for the 66, he will restart here virtually at the back of the pack, as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to Green Flag Racing, as we should see the 87 ride here get the wave around, get the lucky dog, get himself back onto the lead lap here this evening, as we'll wait for Mr. Gets to get down pit road, make his pit stop. So it looks like we'll get at least one more time around the racetrack. And we did have one driver not show up here tonight. We actually had a few drivers that showed up but did not join this race. When we look back at Noah Blackwell, Sean Jensick, Cody Blackmore, Ryan Rose, all three of those drivers did not slide out there onto the racetrack here this evening. And that's a heartbreaker for them, man. 4 very good drivers, 4 very talented drivers here this evening not going out there onto the racetrack, man. That is a tough one. And for Mr. Noah Blackwell not being here, we'll give a shout out to one of his sponsored cars, one of those beautiful looking rides out there on the racetrack, the NJBDesigns.com number 88 ride, that Carrier Motorsports machine of Dylan Carrier up and into 6th here, trying to race his way up and towards the front, as we'll get a quick word in here from the always amazing NJBDesigns.com. And we actually, you know what? Let's get our, we actually completely forgot our bat here, Lonnie Crider, with our opening command here this evening. Things were moving quicker than I was expecting.
Gentlemen, it's time for another exciting night.
It is time for another exciting night, Lonnie. Let's get Lonnie's video up here as well. We almost forgot about this. Wanted to play this before we went Green Flag Racing, but...
Gentlemen, it's time for another exciting night in racing. Hey, you might have to take that extra chance if you're wanting to try to win this championship, so make sure that you make the right moves at the right time. Start those engines, and let's go racing, guys, and let's have a great time tonight.
Alrighty, shout out there to Mr. Lonnie Crider for coming in on that one. I wanted to get that out earlier. Unfortunately, totally kind of slipped my mind right there. Obviously, road courses kind of got us a little out of whack with how things move and how things roll, but nonetheless, we digress, so we'll get ready to keep on battle. We'll get ready to keep on duking it out here in this one, as Brian says, let's go Landon. Anna says, that's my boy. That's my baby. She says, that's my baby in the 2 ride. Landon Burbage out there on the speedway. He's getting ready to see this green flag fly. He's getting ready to go back to battle here this evening. Let's see if we can jump on board here. Let's get a little bit of an angle at this. Let's go with a bit of a different look here for Landon Burbage. We'll get a little bit of a different aerial view of this race car, and he's going to get ready to go to battle here. Let's see if we get the webcam up for him and everything else, and we can really see what he's going through here on these restarts and what he's going to do to try to put himself up and into the winner's circle. Man, that is a runoff you do not want to miss. We saw the 27 ride in there earlier, kind of getting trapped in that area. That's a spot you do not want to miss. Overdrive the racetrack, and that could be an issue for a lot of these drivers here today. Here we go. We'll get them ready to rumble us down and out of our final corner here at Long Beach. We'll get ready to go back to Green Flag Racing as we'll ride on board here with this 2 ride, Landon Burbage. Alrighty, as you can see, this is a very, very tight technical racetrack. You got to be very, very careful on where you're making your moves, where you're rolling onto these throttles, where you're going to arc in the race car into the corners. One simple mistake, one misjudgment could end your night in a quick query as things are tight here at Long Beach as Landon Burbage continues to lead the way, and he will lead this lap. So, green flag conditions, Landon Burbage out in front, showing these drivers how to get it done here in stage number 2. It should be our shortest stage of the day, as we should see this stage come to a close on lap number 25, the completion of lap number 25. So that means we got about 8 laps left to go here before stage number 2 comes to an end. Landon Burbage out in front, Applegate there in second, and Matthew Wood back up and into third. Dylan Carrier's raced his way up and into fourth here. Heck of a run for Dylan Carrier, able to battle his way from deep in this field, sort of back in 15th, now up and into fourth, and he's looking pretty good here, pretty solid up there towards the front of the pack. Benjamin Romano there in 5th with Jordan Hand back in 6th. Melvin Brangwer there in 7th with Caden Gargiulo, Josh Crider, Ben Gleason, all right there, rounding out our top 10 as Gleason trying to race his way back up towards the front of the field. Jonathan Gaston in position number 11, Ryan Haller back there in 12th, and then we see Farrell Robbins in that 13th spot, Brian Underwood back in 14th with Jordan Crider. Turned around, pointed the wrong direction right there. That's not a fun spot to be. It's Crider in position number 15 out there on the racetrack. Chris Gentz back in 16th there in the 87 ride as Joshua Siegfried out of this race, already in this race, out of it already. The 27 ride, and Nathan broke over. This car still smoking down pit road. Looks like his night may be over. Ryan Rose, Noah Blackwell, Sean Jensick, and Cody Blackmore not sliding out there onto the racetrack either. So, heartbreakers for them as we do see Matthew Wood jumping up and into position number 2. So Wood once again going to be looking to try to chase down that 2 ride here, hoping to find his way back up and into the front of the field, looking for stage win number 2 here on the evening, as our blimp here giving us a good shot of them going over the, I believe that's a walk bridge right there. That is a pretty neat little feature here. This entire racetrack, you look at the foundations, the buildings that are around it, and everything else, man. I have never been to this. I've never really seen this race. I'm assuming it's like an F1 style of a racetrack. I don't know which cars or which type of cars. Like, look at that right there. It's a pool. It's a pool right there. A huge little walkway, pool, hotel, the whole 9 yards there, and they drive right down underneath of them, man. That is absolutely insane. It's absolutely wicked. As here you go, you see this tight battle here at the front of the field. Matthew Wood getting a little slideways right there, trying to push it, trying to find his way into the front of the field here, trying to hunt down that number 2 rider, Landon Burbage. Burbage trying to hold him up, trying to keep him back there. Ramp Bay is down across the line. They will complete lap number 19 here this evening. So 19 laps down out there on the racetrack as they head down across the start finish line here, and they get ready to battle back down into corner number 1 here at the beautiful Long Beach Raceway. I don't know if it's Long Beach Raceway or just Long Beach or Long Beach Speedway. I don't know what this track is called, but we do know it's Long Beach something, so it's Long Beach here this evening, and right now it is putting on a hell of a show for us. You see this 2 ride of Landon Burbage still trying to hold off the 16 of Matthew Wood. Wood sticking right there with them. Looks like Wood finally going to make that move down to the inside. We'll move around the other Chevrolet out there on the racetrack, but look at this. Great crossover. Great move right there for Landon Burbage. Burbage looking to try to keep that race lead. Matthew slideways down into this quarter, though, able to slide back underneath of him, take that race lead, and stay out front. We'll see if Landon has something left in the back pocket here, see if he can make another move to try to get back around at Mr. Wood, or if we see Matthew just being able to pull away once again, open up another big lead here, and keep all these drivers back there at bay once again, as we do see Grant Applegate there in 3rd, Dylan Carrier back in 4th, Benjamin Romano there in that 5th position. Jordan Hand back in 6th. Melvin Brangwer, Josh Crider, Caden Gargiulo, and Ben Gleason back up inside the top 10 here this evening. Haller just on the outside of the top 10 looking in here. Haller's one of those drivers that's just going to be kind of nice and easy. I think that's the game plan here for a bunch of these drivers that are not necessarily road course ringers. Is just try to take it easy, keep yourself in between the navigational beakers. Do not put yourself into a position where you got to come down pit road, make unexpected pit stops here on the evening, and just keep your car clean out there. If you keep it clean, keep it out of trouble, you should be able to pick up a few more spots throughout this race with other drivers running into issues, having problems out there on the racetrack. It's Matthew Wood, though, hanging on to this race lead, about 7/10 of a second between himself and Landon Burbage. As Burbage trying to hang with them right there, unfortunately did not get a great corner there and lost quite a bit of time to this 16 Ryan. Actually falls back to almost 2 seconds behind the 16. Just did not get the run he was hoping for, and all of a sudden going from only a couple car lengths back of Matthew Wood to all of a sudden being about 10 car lengths back from his rear bumper out there on the racetrack, and that may just give the breathing room that Matthew needs to try to pull away here and keep all these drivers back there behind him. As man, we're gonna slightly see potentially this 33 Ryan go a lap down once again out there on the racetrack. We saw him run into issues here. Now you do see Brookover back out there as well. Brookover back out onto the track. He's ran into some more issues. Looks like he's going to get stopped on the racetrack and take that thing off the speedway. And we do see Farrell Robbins. Farrell looks like he's down pit side. Big hit here for Farrell Robbins, and looks like he may be down pit road for an extended period of time here trying to get this thing repaired. Let's take a look at it as he's going to send it into corner number 1 right here. It's in there a little too far. The 72, I think, already having issues right there, and here comes the 76. So the old Dogs Racing team both running into issues here into corner number 1. Unfortunately for the 76 Ryan, his are going to be a lot more detrimental. Let's take a look here at Jonathan Gaston. Gaston may have even had a little bit of help. Nope, just looks like he gets in there a little too far right here. Gets onto the binders, kicks out that rear end, goes for a bit of a slide down into corner number 1 as he goes for this little bit of a loop-de-loop. Luckily enough, he's able to keep it out of the fence, and then all of a sudden, here comes his teammate right in there and ends up with some damage anyways as the 76 ends up onto his hood right there, and there you go. You see the 77 get through there. The 6 Ryan trying to get through it as well, but that was a big hit for Farrell Robbins. Now down pit road, Brookover down pit side as well as Matthew Wood out in front, continuing to lead this race and looking to potentially put that Pony Princess ride a lap down out there on the speedways. The Pony Princess 33, the Premium Stock Car Racing League ride of Mr. Jordan Crider, potentially about to go another lap down here this evening at Long Beach as Matthew Wood, our race leader, right there with him. You see the 33 move up and out of the way. Great veteran move, allowing the faster car to get by him. Did not want to hold up our race leader and just lets him go on by. And for Matthew Wood, he's going to say thank you for that one. Did not want to have to potentially try to make a pass and end up putting himself into a tough position out there on the racetrack. Able to slide right around him, able to pull away here, and able to trying to open up more of a lead between himself and Landon Burbage. Just Burbage back there in position number 2. The gap is about 4 seconds now out there on the racetrack. So another huge lead for Matthew Wood out there on the speedway. Now we do see Dylan Carrier. Carrier now up and into position number... He was in 3rd, but he missed the corner right there. What in the world is happening here? Oh no, Dylan Carrier having such a great run, sends it into the corner. Just misses his braking point right here. Gets in too hot. Ends up a little piece of the wall right there, but has to virtually get stopped on the racetrack. Luckily enough, avoids running into anything else here, but he does lose about 3 positions there on the racetrack as we saw Benjamin Romano, Melvin Brenger, Caden Gargiulo, and another 4th car, Jordan Hand, getting around him here. And Dylan Carrier goes from 3rd now all the way back into about the 7th position. Now going to slide back to 8th even as he continues to struggle. We see him get into the fence again. So I'm not sure if something in that front end here must be busted here. Had to have busted something. Now he's into the fence again here. Obviously somewhere that suspension, the front end is tore up here. There you go. You see that left front just weeble wobbling. And unfortunately, that is going to cost the 88 Ryan a lot of time, a lot of positions. Now going to have to come down pit road and potentially use a quick repair here to keep himself himself alive this evening as Matthew Wood not too far away from potentially putting him a lap down, and Grant Applegate right there. Applegate not too far away from going a lap down out on the speedway himself. Let's take a look back and see what happened to Grant Applegate as he was running up in that third position, had some issues, and now all of a sudden about to go a lap down out there on the racetrack. Let's take a look and see what happens here. So the 57 ride, this is down into corner number 1. Running in that third position, just sends it in there too deep, bounces off the wall right there, bounces off the wall again, sideways on the racetrack, trying to get this thing backed up, trying to get it pointed back in the right direction. He's kind of pointed the wrong way here. He's still trying to get this thing turned around and kind of stuck in just a very, very bad spot out there on the racetrack to get this thing turned around. He's just going to kind of hang onto the throttle right here, trying to loop this thing around, but he sees more and more drivers coming at him, and now couldn't get it turned all the way around. He's got to kind of do another 3-point turn right there. Finally gets it rolling, finally gets going right there, and I do believe he may end up running into even more issues here. Nonetheless, he falls all the way back, and now I do believe is going to go a lap down to Matthew Wood, or potentially could go a lap down here. Matthew with only half a lap left to go here in this stage, about that finish. Stage number 2 here this evening, kind of in the same boat he was in that first stage, just kind of letting one of these guys stay on the lead lap here. Not pushing the subject, not running too hard, not wanting to put them a lap down here, trying to keep them alive in this race. It's allowing Landon Burbage to close the gap a little bit, but not enough that he'll probably get an opportunity to make a move around him here in this final lap. But for Matthew Wood, he's just kind of content rolling back here in this tough spot, just in behind some of the lap traffic, allowing these guys to keep themselves in this race. Doesn't want to take them out of it, wants them to try to have a better run than where they are right now, and especially for a driver like Applegate, who was just running in third. Seeing the lead lap, it's a big, big thing for him, but there's some contact right there that kind of stacks them all up, and luckily enough, oh wait, we see Applegate go down pit road here. So Applegate heads down pit side. That's going to put him a lap down nonetheless, and you see Landon Burbage almost jump up and steal the race lead in the stage win away from Matthew Wood, but Matthew able to hang on to it right there. My gosh, that was a lot closer than I think Mr. Wood was hoping for, and we did see Applegate make that unscheduled pit stop right there, take this car down pit sign off the racetrack. You'll see Jordan Crider coming down pit road here, as well as we should see the caution flag for the stage break here in just a little bit, as we do see Josh Crider about to cross the start finish line. Pretty solid damage on the front end of this number 5 ride. Haller's right there in that 8th position. Good run for Haller up inside the top 8 here for that stage. Ryan Underwood, Ben Gleason down across the line. That is our top 10, and there is the yellow flag. So stage number 2 going to come to a close here this evening. Shout out to Matthew Wood, sweeping our first 2 stages here this evening. Heck of a run for this 16 ride. Let's see if we can get him up here into the booth for a little bit of in-race interviews. We got a couple laps before we go back to green flag racing. So let's see if we can get him up here and into the booth real quick.
Landon, I'm starting to regret my decision.
Hey, Matthew, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Hello.
Matthew, man, what a run, what a drive so far here this evening. Obviously winning the first 2 stages a couple times, having some pretty big leads out there on the racetrack, and then obviously late in these runs, just being very, very courteous, a very veteran move there. Obviously allowing the 72 to get back around you on that final corner in that first stage. You're trying to keep the 57 of Applegate on the lead lap there until he peels off down pit road. Almost cost you that second stage as Landon almost jumped up and took it away from you here, but man, a pretty solid race for you so far here this evening, man. Take us back through it. What's going to go through your mind right now?
Yeah, I know some of these guys are struggling a lot, and you know, not everyone's road course ringers, and I like to make people's day as best as possible, and that's my job. And right now, I was trying to let Grant back by, but I'm confused on the rules because Grant pitted with like 3 to go to get a damage fix, and then he came out of the pits as it was closing, but they said the rule is no matter what, if it closes you get a penalty. So Grant's just screwed. That's unfortunate, but I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely been quick. Had the race going up above me, the real life race anyway. It's getting pretty exciting, so hopefully everyone's having a great day, and sure I am.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And now, obviously, the second half of this race, still a lot of laps left to go. What's the game plan? Are you going to hang out back here, have some fun with these guys, or are you just going to pull away and see how many and how big of a lead you can open up?
Well, it's going to be close on fuel. I believe we get 18 or 19 laps, and we're coming to 23 to go. So it's going to be very, very interesting on fuel. Who knows? Somebody might try to save it. Somebody might just try to pit. It's a very long pit road, so it'll be interesting.
Absolutely. Well, I think if you keep the pace that you had there in that first stage, I don't think you're going to have to worry about it. You may have a free pit stop without even losing the race lead out there on the racetrack. Now you just got to do what you didn't do in the wheel-to-wheel racing league when we were at Chicago, and that's stuff yourself into a wall. You got to keep yourself clean out there, brother. I know you want to be fast, you want to run great laps, but sometimes you get that 20, 30-second lead. Maybe just start rolling to the throttle a little sooner, a little easier on the gas pedal, coming out of these corners, trying to keep that car in one piece to finish this thing off.
Yeah, I figured out what I was doing wrong in wheel to wheel. I couldn't figure it out, and then realized I had the brake bias way too low because it was the race after the update, and realized I had my brake bias too low, and that was causing me to go into a four-wheel slide every corner, and ended up crashing me in 2 road course races that I did in a row. So proud of Ben, by the way. Ben Romano, he's in top 3, so I'm really proud of him. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, we saw Ben up there coming home third there in that stage. We saw Ben Gleason up there as well with a third-place run in stage number 1. So the Ben's having some good runs here this evening. Maybe they can finish this off and get some solid performances here today at Long Beach.
Yeah, hopefully. But, yeah, good for Austin Dillon, by the way. Hopefully we don't get another 2024, but we'll see.
I don't know, brother. That would be fun to watch once again. But, man, good luck, good fun out there on the racetrack, and hopefully we'll talk to you again here at the end of the night.
All right, God bless. See you, man.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, Matthew Wood coming home with the first 2 wins in this stage. He is feeling fine. He is looking good out there on the speedway. We'll get him ready to rock and roll here once again for a final run to the end of this race, man. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how this one gets played out as we're going to get a quick little break in here. Huge shout out to njbdesigns.com as we'll get there added here real quick. BRB, ladies and gentlemen. As we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing here in just a little longer as lights still on the official iRacing pace car. Drivers will get lined up. They'll get stacked up and ready to duke it out again here this evening, as I do believe it is going to be a couple drivers still down pit road, just trying to get back out there right now. Here comes Josh Crider. Here comes that 72 with Jonathan Gassett as well. They're able to stay on the lead lap. Obviously, a little damage to both of these drivers, trying to get that repaired and trying to keep themselves still rolling here during this caution flag and not going a lap down, so that's a good break for them. Unfortunately for Dylan Carrier here, looks like Dylan is going to stay a lap down out there on the racetrack, and there's a heartbreaker for the driver that was running inside the top 3 when he had some issues. Ended up with some pretty heavy front end damage, had to make an unscheduled pit stop out there on the racetrack, and with the pit road being closed, coming down pit sign and now having a serve penalty, looks like that does not give him the lucky dog or the wave around back on the lead lap, so he'll need another full course caution if you can get lucky here late in the race and actually see a full course yellow out there on the speedway, which I don't believe we will, but nonetheless, great run so far for the 88 ride, and if this is the way it has to end, then that's the way it has to end here this evening. But for Matthew Wood, he's just looking to keep all these guys back there at bay. Is Landon Burbage in second, Benjamin Romano up in third, then we see Melvin Brangruer. Gannon Gargiulo, Jordan Hand, Brian Underwood, Ryan Haller, our top 8. Ben Gleason and Jonathan Gaston, our top 10. As you see Gaston and the 5 ride, both trying to race their way to the back of the pack here. They were down pit road for an extended period of time. Both drivers just ran into issues down there in our final corner here at Long Beach. That's going to cost them even more time, and by the time that they even get rolling here and start to reel these guys in, our race leaders, they're getting close to going back to green flag racing here and have about half a second in front of Jonathan Gaston and Josh Crider already. So they may be starting from back behind, and now we see Crider into the fence again. Oh no, what has happened here? Josh Crider under the caution flag, going to run into some more issues. I'm not sure what's happened, but obviously after getting into that final corner a little too far, corner 11, looks like he's locked up that left front. Obviously damage there from some contact, and obviously this car not having a good time turning, and he's going to send it into corner number 1 here. Car just will not turn. He gets up into the outside fence, and more damage. Looks like he will tow that thing down pit side here, and potentially, no, he's still rolling out there. Hasn't taken it down pit road as of yet, but nonetheless, we're going to get ready to go back to green flag racing. And for right now, he is a lot of seconds back behind our race leaders, and it looks like we will get an extended yellow flag. So the caution flag will stay out here. These guys will get at least another lap here this evening. At least that's a good break for the 5 ride in the 72 of Jonathan Gaston to help them try to catch up to the rear of the field. But for Crider, he just continues to run into more and more problems here. This SpongeBob SquarePants ride, man, obviously front end damage on this car, and it just does not want to turn. And even though it's got that damage, he's still trying to stick with it, but it's just making things even worse as there in that corner gets into the fence here as well on corner entry, and then back down into the corner exit. Cannot get that car to turn even more. Gets into the wall again. Now loses the front bumper. So that's probably why we got the extended caution flag there. Debris on the racetrack, and then he's still just trying to keep this thing alive. Still trying to keep this car out of trouble. Just narrowly avoids more damage and more carnage there on the racetrack as he's able to keep on rolling, keep on battling here this evening as he sends it back down. I believe this is corner number 9, and oh, there it is, into the fence again, another double whammy for the 5 ride of Crider. His Crider, man, he is just going through it here, trying to just keep this thing alive, trying to keep this car rolling out there on the racetrack. I don't know how it's still rolling. I don't know how it made that corner right there. Nonetheless, he's able to get it tight around that corner, able to keep it rolling, gets it down pit road here. He's going to get down to his pit stall. Now, I don't know if he's got a quick repair or not. If he does have a quick repair in his back pocket, this is clearly the time to use it. Use that quick repair, get this car fixed up, and get it pointing in the right direction here as he's going to try to get into his pit stall. He's got to find it. Trying to get lined up. There it is. And he does have that quick repair. So the quick repair comes in clutch. That car is fixed back up. And now he's got to worry about trying to catch up to the rest of the field here. He's got to be careful. Does not want to put himself into the wall again. Just trying to play catch up here. But for our race leaders, they're headed down into our final set of corners here. Getting ready to go back to green flag racing. For Crider, he is still quite a ways back here behind them. So he's still playing that catch up game. And I don't think he's going to catch our race leaders by the time we get back to before we get back to the green flag here this evening, as I do believe it's going to be about 30 laps when we go back to green flag racing, so 20 laps to the end of this race. So 20 laps to finish things off here today, and as we get ready to go back to green flag racing, we will jump into a Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers as we crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for all these drivers. A beautiful crank it up session here this evening as we crank it up here at Long Beach. As out in front, leading the way, we get a new race leader here this evening as the number 9 ride jumping up on top of the wheel, moving himself to the front of the pack here. With only about 14 laps left to go here in this race is Benjamin Romano, who's out in front, has the race lead. As we do see one driver coming down pit side, it is Ben Gleason in the 66. So drivers that were trying to, we talked to Matthew Wood there before that during that stage break on lap 25, and he talked about how tight fuel is going to be for a lot of these drivers and whether or not some drivers are going to think about potentially trying to save fuel, trying to make it to the end of the race without having to make a green flag pit stop here this evening. And for Matthew Wood, he may think that's the way he's got to do it. As we do see Landon Burbage quite a ways back there. He is quite a bit off the pace, has been falling farther and farther behind the 9 and that 16 riders. Now we see Romano run into issues. Oh no, Romano was out in front. Looked like he was running that race to be, the driver out in front to just kind of try to run away with it. If he's going to come down, and maybe he thought everyone had to make that green flag pit stop, and if he could have gave himself a big enough lead, could have been enough to hold off Matthew Wood, but right there, making that mistake, and that allows Matthew Wood just to kind of roll right on by him and jump back out in front. So Wood reconsumes the race lead, has about 5 seconds now between himself and Benjamin Romano, so that's going to help him out even more here, gives him more of a gap and a little bit more of a cushion to just continue saving. Keep on saving, keep on saving some fuel here, waiting till he's good to go. Once he kind of gets that green light to say, hey, you are good. You do not need to make another pit stop, as we did see, obviously, a bunch of drivers. Caden Gargiulo down pit road already, Ben Gleason, Brian Underwood, Josh Crider back down pit side. Crider's gotten into more issues there, more damage on that SpongeBob Season 2 champ of the Premium Stock Car Racing League, that Robert Up Productions ride. Honestly, back at about that 11th position, not the run he was hoping for here this evening. Now we do see Applegate headed down pit side. He needs fuel. Here comes Melvin Brengruer also down pit side. He needs fuel in this 19 ride. Maybe a little damage repair there as well. But out in front, leading this race, it is Matthew Wood. Wood has the race lead. He is feeling good here at the front of the field, and honestly, just waiting till he gets that A-OK. Once that pit crew says you are good on fuel, you can make it to the end of this race without having to worry about fuel for the rest of this one. So he's going to be kind of the man on a mission here, just trying to keep these guys back there at bay. And once he gets that green light, once he knows that fuel is good to go, he's going to be hard on that throttle. He's going to be pulling farther and farther away from everybody else. Now we do see Landon Burbage. Landon, he's on that saving game as well. Goes and ends up loses position number 3 right there. So that allows Jordan Hand to get by him. Hand gonna quickly move on past him. You see Landon just way off the pace here, keeping that car under control, just waiting for later in this race, hoping that it can allow him to kind of open up a bit of a gap here, give himself a bit of a cushion, as he knows he's trying to save that fuel as well as Matthew Wood and maybe even some of these other drivers. Maybe Benjamin Romano now realizing fuel may become an issue. Now he may be trying to save. He has not been able to hunt down Matthew Wood. For a while there, looked like he was going to jump up, take that race lead and try to run away with it, and then make a pit stop later in this race, or hope that everyone had to still come down pit road. But we'll have to wait and see how this plays out, as here comes Jonathan Gaston. Gaston cannot make it any farther. He heads down pit side. What about Ryan Haller? Has Haller been saving? Does he have enough fuel? Can he make it to the end of this race without having to make a green flag pit stop, as Matthew Wood continues to lead the way here, about 6 seconds now separating him and that 9 ride Matthew Wood, or of Benjamin Romano, as Wood and Romano 1 and 2 out there on the racetrack. Can Benjamin hang on to it? Can he slowly but surely or creep back in, maybe find the run that he needs to take that race lead back away and put himself up and into the winner's circle here this evening? I feel like it's going to be a very, very tall task for him to do, but for all these other drivers, have they been able to save enough fuel? Can they make it to the end even here this evening? We look at Jordan Hand. Hand quite a ways back here, 20 seconds back from Matthew Wood. He's about 13 seconds back of Benjamin Romano. That's a pretty sizable gap. You look back at Landon Burbage here. Burbage, he's about 25 seconds behind Matthew Wood. And if Matthew just keeps on rolling the throttle here and quits saving and just keeps running, he could probably open up a big enough lead that he can make this green flag pit stop and still have the race lead even after coming down pit road. But it's going to get very, very interesting out there on the racetrack to see who's going to be able to get it done here in this one, as out in front, Matthew Wood leads this race. As here we go, Haller comes down pit side. So Ryan Haller makes his final pit stop here on the day. He comes down pit road looking to get fuel and tires and hoping to get back out there on the racetrack here and hoping that he can do enough to keep himself into a solid top 10 run here this evening. As he finds his pit stall, the crew is going to go to work. You do see the left side's getting jacked up, so it does look like he's at least getting left side tires onto this race car. Looks like they're going to potentially put right sides and left sides on. Okay, so interesting call. Getting 4 tires and a tank of fuel. And for that number 77, it looks like he'll get rolling back out onto the racetrack. He should come out of the pits somewhere around position number 8 or 9, as here comes Melvin Brengruer down and around him. So Brengruer will jump up into the 8th position. Haller still rolling down pit lane. He's about to hit that exit right there. Able to get back up to speed here, so he does come out in about that 9th position. So now he's just got to keep himself in front of that 72 with Jonathan Gaston. Is Gaston going to be looking to try to hunt him down? But there's our race leader right behind these guys. That is Matthew Wood in position number 1 out there on the speedway. As the Gaston ride, the 77, a Haller, all these other drivers right there in front of him. Is Matthew Wood, though, out in front. He is a man on a mission here this evening. Now has been a 9-second gap between himself and Benjamin Romano. So 9 seconds separating first and second out there on the racetrack. Jordan Hand even farther back. Your Hand is about even 27, almost 28 seconds behind our race leader. Landon Burbage, he's about 33 seconds back behind Matthew Wood. Caden Gargiulo, our 5th place driver, about 54 seconds behind Matthew Wood here this evening. There's Ben Gleason back in 6th. Brian Underwood there in 7th. Melvin Brengruer in position number 8. Haller there in 9th. And Haller, last car on the lead lap, as we do see Jonathan Gaston now a lap down. The 72 car goes a lap down again here this evening. And now you do see Matthew Wood reel it in on our 9th place driver, Mr. Ryan Haller, out there on the racetrack. Haller nice and easy through that final corner, trying to get that speed down, trying to keep himself out of trouble. But sees our race leader right behind him, so he's just going to move down and out of the way there and allow Matthew Wood to go by. So Matthew now has passed everyone outside our top 8 here this evening. So only 8 drivers left on the lead lap. And man, this has been a ton of fun. That is a lot of fun. These guys are putting on an absolutely amazing show here for us at Long Beach Raceway here this evening. As Wood continues just to pull away farther and farther from this 9 rider Benjamin Romano. Jordan Hand, the 2 rider Landon Burbage. Burbage has been saving fuel, trying to make it that he can get to the end of this race without having to worry here late in this season, knowing that, or in this race, knowing that if he can make it on fuel, he can make it to the end. If Matthew Wood has to make that pit stop, if Jordan Hand have to come down pit side here, then it may open up the door for Landon to jump out in front, have the race lead, and be able to just kind of pull away and win this race. So obviously a lot of different strategy going into this, but the farther and farther he continues to save and fall back here, him and Jordan Hand are both on that same boat, as Jordan Hand even falling back into the grasp of this 2 ride of Landon Burbage. But out in front for Matthew Wood, he's got 37 seconds, 38 seconds between himself and that 24 and that number 2 ride. He could virtually come down pit side, make a pit stop here this evening, and probably still come out of it inside the top 2 here this evening, only really losing probably that 1 spot to Benjamin Romano in 2nd out there on the racetrack. But man, this has been a absolute blast here this evening, as Matthew Wood out in front looking to try to win this race. Benjamin Romano there in position number 2. Jordan Hand trying to hang on to 3rd here, as you do see Landon fall a little farther back from him. And man, this is going to be a good battle right down to the end. How's this going to play out? Who will have enough fuel? Who will have to make these late race pit stops? As each and every one of these drivers, man, looking very, very good. And if you guys are watching the real-life NASCAR race that's going on at Richmond Raceway right now, they're headed down into the final two corners here, down through 3 and out of corner number 4 in the real NASCAR race, and it's Austin Dillon going back-to-back here at Richmond in this late race Richmond feature, man. This has been a great show. We saw him there a couple years ago, make some controversial moves, won the race, and then later got his ticket pulled for making it into the playoffs. This time, though, not having that controversy, not having those issues, and Austin Dillon looks like he will win his way into the NASCAR playoffs here this season. Big win right there for the Bass Pro Shops ride of Austin Dillon. Congratulations there to him. His 2nd career win at Richmond, his 6th career win, lifetime there in the NASCAR Cup Series. Good run by Bowman coming home there in 2nd. Blaney in 3rd. Logano from the back of the pack up into 4th. Austin Cendric, Kyle Larson, our top 6 there in the real-life NASCAR races. Austin Dillon gets to celebrate, gets to burn down the house here this evening. Matthew Wood, he was talking about that race earlier and talking about how it was Austin Dillon's race to win here again this season, and he is able to get it done here in this one. Huge congrats there to that 3 ride as he's able to capture the dub out there on the racetrack. Is out in front, though, continuing to lead this race. Matthew Wood, he's looking to burn down the house just the same as that 3 ride in real life. Matthew Wood, he's hoping to burn down the house here and capture the victory here this evening. Is Rodney? What's good, Rodney? Rodney coming in to show the love. Says, good evening, Peacemaker. It's a road course. Watch the brakes. Watch the brakes, he says. Yes, sir. You got to watch the brakes. Got to watch those tires. And you just got to make sure you hit your marks, not make any mistakes out there on the racetrack. Put yourself into a fence or take yourself out of this race. He says Wood is a beast. Wood is definitely a beast, man. This 16 ride is a man on a mission here, and I think even from early on, if he wasn't saving fuel or anything else, I think this car could probably be passing our top 5 here right now. Could probably be putting our 2nd, 3rd place drivers even a lap down and having an entire lap advantage out there on the racetrack, as Matthew Wood, with the race lead, has about 18 seconds between himself and Benjamin Romano here, is down across the line. There you go. Romano has to come down pit road, has to make that green flag pit stop. So here comes the 9 ride down pit sign for Matthew Wood. That gives him a whole lot of confidence out there on the racetrack. Is now going to be in position number 2. We'll take a look and see as Romano still waiting to get down to his pit stall. Landon Burbage, he's been saving fuel this entire run. Now we see Jordan Hand off the pace. He's trying to save some fuel out there on the racetrack. We saw Caden Gargiulo earlier there on lap 35 come down pit road when he knew he was good on fuel. But you do see the 9 ride able to come down, get a splash of gas, and go. Now, he did have about 30 seconds between himself and Landon Burbage. Here comes Burbage down across the start-finish line here. Looks like he should potentially jump into 2nd here over this 9 ride. It's going to be very tight. The 9 able to head down into corner number 1, hits that blue cone, able to get it into the corner, slides it right there a little too far. He was trying to carry that speed, trying to make that corner. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get there. Landon Burbage will stay in position at number 2 out there on the racetrack, but Burbage, his fuel could still be very tight here. For Benjamin Romano, he's got enough fuel to make it to the end of this race, and if you're Matthew Wood, you see that happening. You know you have 57 seconds between yourself and our 2nd place driver. He can come down pit side, get fuel, even get tires, and still have this race lead. Virtually, Benjamin Romano had a 30-second gap between himself and Landon Burbage. Was able to get that splash of gas and roll out there on the racetrack and not only lose that 1 position for Matthew Wood. If you're looking at it, you know you have such a massive gap. It's now grown to about an entire second here that you have an advantage between yourself and Benjamin Romano. Romano is able to get back around Landon Burbage. I believe Burbage still trying to save more fuel. Now Burbage into the wall. Burbage into the fence. Heavy left front damage here for the 2 ride, and that may be all she wrote for Landon Burbage in his opportunity to win here this evening at Long Beach, as the 2 car hard into the tire barriers. It's like a brick wall, and heavy damage. He's gonna have to try to creep this car down out of our final corner, down pit lane here and into his pit stall nonetheless here to get this thing fixed back up and just hope to try to stay on the lead lap or keep himself somewhere in this battle. I don't think he's going to be able to stay on the lead lap as here comes Matthew Wood, our race leader, going to cruise control right on around him here as Matthew has about a second gap between himself and Benjamin Romano. So there's Wood just across the line. Here's this number 9 ride. He's not even halfway through this race course. He's not even halfway through this race already here this evening, which just shows you how much of an advantage he has. And right there you see them actually kind of correspond kind of at that halfway marker. So if you watch this number 9 and the 16, they're right there, and they can virtually wave at each other here. One's headed down into corner number 1, the other one's headed down to about corner number 5 or 6 out there on the racetrack. Is there you go, you see them right there on opposite sides of the racetrack, and that is the advantage that Mr. Matthew Wood has opened up between himself and this 9 ride of Benjamin Romano. So Wood out in front, 1 second lead, can just take it easy, can just have no issues here for the rest of this race and should be able to come home with this race win. He can be on cruise control for the rest of the night as Benjamin Romano rolls there in position number 2. It's Ben Gleason in the 66 ride, now up and into third. Heck of a run here for Ben Gleason. Gleason there in that third position. Jordan Hand back in position number 4. Looks like Hand still trying to save more fuel in that 24 ride, losing more and more positions. Here comes Brian Underwood up inside the top 5. He would love to gain another spot or 2 here late in this race. Melvin Brangruer there in position number 6. Haller in the 77 ride in that 7th position. The lucky 7's out there on the racetrack here tonight, but the 77 right now rolls back there in that 7th position as Jonathan Gaston right there on his back bumper. This is a battle for that 7th spot on the speedway, so they're going to continue to duke it out. 7th and 8th out there on the racetrack. Hopes to get a little too loose on the throttle there for the 72, and Gaston's going to slide back as now we do see issues for the 5 rider Josh Crider. Crider's ran into more problems and now down pit road, and I believe potentially out of this race. Look at this car again, just absolutely destroyed here, man. Another big hit for him. Already damage on it, sends it into this corner, gets in there too far, bam! Pancakes that wall, and the Season 2 champion Rumbered Up Productions ride, unfortunately, going to take this thing down pit side and out of this race here this evening as Matthew Wood still on cruise control here. Still holding that 1 second lead, just cruising here at the front of the pack here as Anna says, no, to Landon wrecking himself out there on the racetrack here, and this one is Roadkill. What's good, Roadkill? Says, I shifted to first instead of third for half a second. Shouldn't have blown the engine, but it did. Would have been P2. Oh no, that is a heartbreaker. Heartbreaker for Caden Gargiulo here this evening. We did see Gargiulo also down pit road here in that 7 ride. Heavy smoke rolling out of it, man. It's looking like a demolition derby or something out there as you see these cars just absolutely destroyed. Smoke rolling out of them down on pit road, and definitely not a fun day at the speedway there for those drivers parked down pit side. And that's a heartbreaker, shifting from trying to shift from first instead of third right there, and that's all she takes sometimes, just that little extra bit. And as you do see Mr. Matthew Wood able to work his way around Melvin Brangruer. Brangruer will slide still into that 5th position here, still feeling good running in 5th. He's got Jordan Hand back behind him, not too far away from him here, but right now that puts Brangruer a lap down out there on the racetrack. We currently have 4 drivers still on the lead lap here this evening. Benjamin Romano in position number 2. He's about 1 second and a little bit more behind Matthew Wood here this evening. Ben Gleason right there. He's about 10 seconds back of Benjamin Romano, 10 seconds behind him. You do see this 6 ride of Brian Underwood, and not too far away from Underwood is our race leader, Matthew Wood, as Matthew has just been an absolute man on a mission here on a tear all evening long. He's looking to cruise control into victory lane here this evening as you see that 6 ride a little slow there through that final corner and potentially could go another lap down here himself. Is there we go. White flag is out one more time around here for Matthew Wood as Matthew Wood looking to capture tonight's victory. here in what has been a fairly dominant race from that Racers for Christ 16 ride as the NJBDesigns.com ride reels into our 4th place driver, Brian Underwood, looking to put him a lap down here this evening and to be able to finish this race off with only 3 drivers on the lead lap, having a full second advantage between yourself and second place on the racetrack is absolutely diabolical out there on the speedway, man. These guys are putting on an absolutely great show for us, great racing out there, and for Matthew Wood, he's just been a man on a mission. Cruise control here at the front of the field and looking to capture another dub here in his premium stock car racing league career. As the Racers for Christ ride down and through our better midway point here down on Pine Avenue here in Long Beach, and hands down under a couple of these things. Speed limit since 25. These guys are going way quicker than 25. Luckily enough, there are no cops out there on the racetrack to enforce that speed rule, and we're able to keep on rolling here. Full speed ahead is down through our final set of corners here for the 16 and into that final corner here at Long Beach Speedways. Nice and easy down and through that final corner, rolling back up to speed and down across the line here to pick up the dub. It's the 16 of Matthew Wood. Matthew Wood picks up the win here, and to show you how much farther ahead he was, let's jump on board. Here's this 9 ride. Our second place driver will wait and see if he can finish this thing off, if he can come home in second. We already know Brian Underwood, Melvin Brengruer came home 4th and 5th as they have completed the race after Matthew Wood went across the line. There's still 2 drivers left battling out there on the racetrack that were on the lead lap, one of them being Benjamin Romano, the other one being Ben Gleason. So the Bens having some good runs here this evening in behind Matthew Wood. If Matthew didn't show up, it would have been a great day for this 9 ride and that 6 machine here this evening. Unfortunately, Matthew Wood in attendance and just putting a whooping on the rest of the field. It's nice and easy here for that 9 ride. Going to head down through our final couple corners and make it through that, I believe, the 11th corner on the racetrack, our final corner here on the speedway here at Long Beach, and finally back down the straightaway and across the line for second place there for Benjamin Romano. Coming home in 3rd down through that final corner is that 66 ride of Ben Gleason, and Gleason nice and easy able to roll down across the line here, comes home in position number 3 here this evening. But man, what an absolute masterclass for the 16 ride as he's parked it up and in the flowers here. The landscaper's not going to be very happy about that one, but Matthew, he couldn't care any less. He was able to pick up the win. He's got this car sitting pretty in there as, oh my gosh, everyone else is going to pile in there and wreck their cars. This has been a bit of a blast here as you see the 57 ride. Actually, looks like Matthew Wood may have ran out of fuel. One more lap could have been the difference maker, but I think for Matthew Wood, he had enough time there. For a long time, he didn't even have to worry about fuel. Didn't even have to risk it. Could have just came down pit road and got a tank of fuel into that ride, but now he's going to get shoved here from Mr. Applegate around the racetrack to the front straightaway where maybe he can get ready to celebrate here this evening. You see the 9 ride right there as well as they're just going to kind of cruise control back here to the front stretch and get ready to battle here this evening as Anna says, good job, Matthew. What a run right there for Matthew Wood. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for Matthew Wood, man. What a run, what a drive, what a performance there for that number 16 machine. The Racers for Christ ride finding victory lane here at Long Beach as Heyitskevcustoms, Mr. Aller says top 10 on a road course. As there he is right there sitting on the racetrack as says top 10 on a road course. I've never raced at all until tonight. Yeah, I feel you, brother. I feel you. I'm right there with you. I haven't even seen this racetrack before. I didn't even know what Long Beach was. I thought it was maybe another little short track racetrack. I did not expect a road course, but guess me wrong. But here we are, as he says, first ever race, 7th for the 77 car. I should go get a lotto ticket. Laugh out loud. Yeah, should definitely go get a lotto ticket, brother. The 777s right there. Good numbers, good blessings there. So you should definitely go and get some right now as you still see this 57 Underwood still pushing Matthew Wood here around the racetrack, trying to get him back to the front stretch so that way he can celebrate the win here this evening as the race car slowly but surely gets dragged into Victory Lane here this evening. We'll get ready to pull him and the rest of our top 3 up and into the broadcast booth here for their post-race interviews. Oh, they get a little broken up right there. Have to see if they can get them lined back up again. Grant's got to be able to make this corner here. He's going to maybe back up a little bit. Get back square with that rear bumper. There he goes. Able to get back behind him and able to keep on pushing this. NJBDesigns.com, number 16, and Matthew Wood. Back to the front straightaway here to celebrate the win here today. We'll see if he can get it fired up here. We'll see if the 57 rides maybe ran out of fuel now. Oh, there we go. There goes Grant. He's back onto the throttle. He's going to get ready to push as Matthew Wood in the waiting room. Let's get him up here into the booth. Hey, Matthew. It's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Oh, what's up, buddy?
Not much, Matthew, man. What a run, what a race. As we talked to you there after winning stage number 1 and 2 here this evening. You said fuel was going to be tight here. You thought other drivers were going to be trying to save fuel to get to the end. And for yourself, you were right there in that boat. You saved right till the very end. Luckily enough, able to make it to the end here, but I don't think you had to really worry. You probably could have came down Pit Road at any point in time there and still put yourself up and into victory lane, as there was only 3 drivers left on the race lead, and you had about a 1 second plus advantage between yourself and that 9 rider Benjamin Romano.
Dude, I'm just so happy for Ben, man. I can't wait for his interview. He is absolutely ecstatic. Me and him are good buddies, and we've been waiting to have a 1-2 finish for a long time now. It's unfortunate what happened to Landon and Caden. Caden probably would have had a second there, but what a race, man. What a day. I knew I was going to be able to save it as soon as I saw how close it was. Even if we didn't have that extra caution lap, I probably would have been able to save it. I saved it just to the point of where I needed to be in order to make it to the end, and then started pushing. Then I saved a little bit just to make sure I could get off the final corner, because you're low, your RPMs are low. It's not going to get off the final corner. So I made sure that if I was going to run out, I was going to run out in the straight. But just an incredible night. A lot of laughs all around, and not a fun one for some guys, but definitely I think the mood was up. Even if the guys didn't have the best of races, the atmosphere was definitely up, I think, tonight.
Yeah, atmosphere was definitely up. Obviously, new racetrack on the schedule. A little bit of a different experience for everybody coming to Long Beach. Is this the first time you've ran here, or is this the first time you've ran a stock car here at Long Beach here in your career?
I don't think I may have ran like one time. I may have ran like the Cup car, because I think they did it in week 13, but I didn't even run that race. I just did like one lap, and I was like, oh, cool, I hate this. I'm never doing this again. But that is the next gen. So other than that, I think I've ran GT3s here quite a bit. Of course, back in my Forza 7 days, I ran a lot here. I've always loved this racetrack, but I didn't expect to win by a minute. But yeah, I've loved this track for a long time.
Absolutely. And do you think potentially some of that history of seeing this track before and running it a little bit in the GT3s or running it in Forza and stuff like that, just having that extra little bit of knowledge and track awareness to where your braking points are and everything else helped you out here a little bit this evening, being that much quicker than the rest of the field?
I mean, I definitely think it helped in some aspect, just knowing the track, kind of knowing what's coming next. But racing on iRacing is a completely different ballpark, and especially in a stock car is a completely different ballpark. But I love it, and I will always love it, except if we're racing in the next gen, and then we'll continue on. And I said it last week, but I don't know how long I'll be here. I just haven't had the motivation to go run officials, because I got wrecked 3 races in a row. But we don't talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We did see that I rating go down about 100 points there, but hey, that means at least another week potentially here to run in the series. As Matthew, congratulations, another big win here tonight for that 16 ride, brother. Who'd you like to thank for another absolutely amazing performance out there on the racetrack?
Well, I'd like to thank, first of all, the entire team, Jordan and everybody over there, Caden, Landon, Grant. We've all had a wonderful time. Ben, of course, I can't wait for either of their interviews. They both deserved it. And, thank Outlier Speed Co. and JB Designs, making my paint schemes and everything. Josh and Brian for what they do, and you for putting on an incredible show as always up in the booth. And thank the Lord for what He's done for me. Thank everybody that comes here and supports me. I know Landon's grandparents and his family come here and watch us. I love y'all, and thanks Audrey. She's out there. Everybody else that's out there with me. Just love you all.
Absolutely, well, Matthew, heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening, parking that 16 ride up here into victory lane here at Long Beach Raceway as you're able to capture tonight's victory, brother. We look forward to seeing you back out there on the racetrack tomorrow night and hopefully maybe right back up here in victory lane.
Thank you, brother. God bless you all.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night.
You too, man.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for Matthew. What is Matthew? Picks up the win here this evening at Long Beach as we'll get ready now to pull in our second place finisher. You see him sitting there on the racetrack with Matthew Wood. It's that 9 ride of Benjamin Romano. Romano coming home in position number 2. Let's get ready to pull Ben up here into the booth for his post-race interview. Hey, Benjamin, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
I do have a copy, sir.
Ben, man, what a run, what a drive for you here this evening. Take us back through it. Obviously, a little bit of a different scenery than what we're used to here with these race cars and running in the series. Coming here to Long Beach, and you're able to have yourself a hell of a day and able to come home with a solid second place finish, man. Take us back through it. What's going through your mind right now is going to pull it up here onto the podium.
Just a lot of people I need to thank for letting me be in this league, but the race went well. I mean, I was okay where I qualified and all that stuff, but seeing if someone would have told me I had a podium in me today after all the wrecks that happened, I wouldn't have believed it. But hell, it's such a good thing because I'm on the podium with Matthew, and I couldn't say more.
Yeah, absolutely. He was pretty excited about how excited you were for getting in here and getting that second place run, man. What does it mean to you? Obviously coming in here and having such a good run, finally getting this 9 right up and onto the podium here. And if Matthew didn't show up, potentially could have ended up in victory lane here today.
I mean, I don't think about it like that. I mean, Matthew, I mean, he's a talented man. I mean, he's a talented man. But finishing behind him won't ever feel bad to me. Finishing behind him is just showing I've done something right. Finishing in front of him that would be the icing on the cake. But I don't think I have the speed and the commitment to what he has. So I'm okay finishing a second behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. Second behind Matthew would feel like a win to pretty much anybody in the series. Man, a hell of a run, hell of a drive for you here this evening. Obviously, able to play a little bit of strategy there. You took the race lead away from him. You were obviously not on that fuel savings game plan like Matthew was. You took that race lead. You were stretching it out. You push it too far. You miss the corner there.
Yeah.
You give it right back to him, which kind of hurt you there in the long run. But really, after you had to come down pit side, you were able to have a good enough gap between yourself and some of these other drivers that you come out virtually in a battle with that 2 ride of Landon Burbage for that second position. Then Burbage ran into his issues, which allowed you to jump back up there into second. I think you would have got it back away from him nonetheless. Obviously, he was still trying to save more and more fuel, and you were just back out there onto the racetrack. Just made that pit stop. You're feeling good and able to roll that throttle without a problem, and here you are, able to slide up into second. Well, Ben, it was a heck of a run, hell of a drive here for you tonight, man, as you park that Amazon Prime Premium Stock Car Racing League number 9 machine up here in position number 2, man. Who would you like to thank for such a great run and strong performance here this evening?
Just to Brian and Josh for putting on these races every single week. I joined like 2 seasons ago, so I mean, it's been a hard time for me, but I thank those two for letting me join this league. I thank Matthew for, I mean, outside of this, we try to stay as close as we can to being friends and all that shit. But oh, sorry,
You're good. You're good. We're not peachy.
But
here.
but yeah, I mean, I have Brian to thank. I have Josh to thank for letting me be in this league. I have Matthew to thank for always being a friend of mine, and that's basically all I have to say.
Beauty. Well, Ben, hell of a run, hell of a drive, brother. Hopefully some momentum being built up for you and many more trips here throughout this season for the 9 ride to join us here in the broadcast booth. And maybe one of these nights we'll find you up here in victory lane.
I hope. I hope.
Beauty. Ben, enjoy the rest of your evening, brother.
You too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Benjamin Romano, as Benjamin comes home in position number 2 here this evening. Now we'll get ready to pull in our third place finisher. It's the other Ben in the field. It's Ben Gleason. Ben comes home in position number 3. Let's get Ben up here into the booth. Hey, Ben, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth to get a copy.
Loud and clear.
Ben, man, heck of a run, heck of a drive for you here this evening, showing a lot of speed out of that 66 ride, right out of the drop of the green flag here. Obviously able to run up in that second position for a while. We see you battle in there with Landon Burbage, and then you come home with a third place run in that first stage. Second stage, looked like you got a slow pit stop down pit road there in that first pit stop, and then you kind of just couldn't really rebound from that. You gained a few positions back during that second stage, but couldn't get back up here towards the front. And then late in this race, just using long run speed, just slowly but surely keeping yourself out of mistakes and making problems, and you find yourself coming home here to finish off tonight with a solid third place run. The third and final driver out there on the racetrack, still in the lead lap here this evening.
Yeah, it was a rough race. Made some mistakes, but it was a long battle of attrition. Managed to hang on to third and stay in front of Wood. That was ultimately the goal, is stay in front of Wood, so I didn't go a lap down.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep in front of him. Don't go a lap down. There's definitely a game plan for a lot of drivers, and not a lot of them could do it here this evening. It was only, obviously, Matthew, but then the two Bens here, Romano and yourself, able to stay on the lead lap here. But, man, if it was a couple more laps here, potentially Matthew could have ran out of fuel, could have really opened up the door for you and the other Ben to be able to park yourselves up another spot there on the podium. As, man, that was a hell of a performance for the both of you.
Yeah, it was a great night for us. For the most part, we raced well. And I got to hand it to Romano. He did a great job tonight. I think he led 1 or 2 laps, and it was just great to see.
Yeah, great to see him up there battling at the front. Great to see yourself up there as well. We talked about it early on. Normally we see you make your way and navigate your way late in these races towards the front of the field and put yourself into the top 5, top 3 area, and not normally early on. Normally we see you kind of qualify a little bit worse, not really get the great runs out of the get-go. And then later on in the race we see up here tonight, it's kind of vice versa. You saw you obviously early on battling there at the front of the field, trying to hunt down, trying to stick with that 16 Matthew Wood for the race lead. And then we see you here late in the race being able to rebound and drive yourself up here. So maybe a bit of a momentum builder going forward here for this 66 team.
I really hope that it plays out for the rest of the season. I mean, I usually excel at road courses. At ovals, I don't usually qualify. I just let the race go, and I work my way up the whole time. So I'm happy with how things have turned out so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So far, off to a great start to the season, man, and hopefully it continues on and continues to get more and more trips up here into the broadcast booth. Has been heck of a run, hell of a drive here this evening, brothers. You park it up in position number 3. Who would you like to thank for such a great performance out there at Long Beach?
Well, as always, I'm thanking my wife. But I'd like to thank my team. I'd like to thank Josh and Brian. Really couldn't do all this without them.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Ben, congratulations again on the third place finish here this evening from Long Beach Raceway as you park that 66 right up here on the podium. Hopefully we'll see you back up here again next Saturday night, maybe a couple spots better even, and into victory lane yourself.
Thank you, man.
So enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher, Ben Gleason, as Ben comes home in position number 3 here this evening, man. Heck of a run, heck of a drive here by all these competitors, man. They put on an absolutely amazing show for us all evening long. That was a ton of fun, a lot of great racing, and a lot of fun here this evening at Long Beach Raceway, man. That was a blast, man. That was a blast. It was some great racing, man, and we can't wait wait to see a lot of these drivers. A lot of the same drivers will be in attendance, will be racing here again tomorrow night in our wheel-to-wheel racing league. So make sure you guys tune into that one. Make sure you guys tune in again and join us up in the grandstands for some more amazing racing action here on Peacemaker Gaming. But listen, we can't thank you guys enough, though. Every one of you for tuning in. All the fans in the stands cheering these drivers on, watch them duke it out here throughout the evening, and put on a hell of a show for us here today, man. We can't thank those drivers enough for putting on the show here this evening, but it's all due to you fans, man. We can't thank you guys enough. Couldn't do it without you guys. Everyone came in with the likes, the comments, the shares. We appreciate each and every single one of you, and it's not too late to do that. Hit that like button, hit that share button for us, hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today. Hit that subscribe button, become part of the family, and join us here for more crazy racing action every single night of the week. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, unfortunately that is going to do it for us here this evening. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we will see you guys back here in the next one. Peace and love here from beautiful Long Beach Raceway here this evening.
Strapped in tight, ready, V8 symphony humming, tires screeching, engine screaming, speed demons coming. Gasoline guzzling, straight moving, track bruising, in the premium stock car, never losing. Pit crew wizards, quick as wizards, slick precision. Seconds matter, clock ticking, tight decisions. Drafting close, slingshot ghost, high speed ballet, sipping victory, toasted champ, champagne spray. Fast lane, checkered flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near. Grid start, hearts pound, seconds before eruption. Adrenaline and steel, the perfect conjunction. Lap after lap, sweat drips, eyes are fogging.